But now let's turn our attention to energy, and Capricorn Power is back on Birchal for its second capital raise as it seeks to commercialise its Barton Engine. The engine converts heat to electricity to produce zero emission energy. To tell us more, founder Mike Hodgkinson joins us via Skype. Mike, welcome back. Tell us a little bit about this for people who are not familiar with the Barton Engine, because it is an amazing creation you have.
Yeah, it is. Thanks for having me. So the Barton heat engine is a high efficiency heat engine at container scale. Most people probably don't realise that over 70% of the world's electricity is generated by heat engines, mainly steams that turns a turbine. But our heat engine uses air, and it uses a piston cylinder.
And so the heat engine, what are you doing to create that heat? What are you burning?
Well, we can just take the heat from a variety of sources. So initially our focus is waste heat, so flares from landfill or wastewater treatment plants or furnace waste heat. But we can also use solar thermal heat, for example.
This is a remarkable creation, and it's an Australian invention. So tell us a little bit about your plans for the Birchal campaign. How much money you're looking for, and what's it going to be used towards?
Yep, so we just went live after expression of interest phase. So we're looking to raise 1.3 million, which is about twice what we raised last year, about 650,000 last year. And last year that got us to where we are today, which is the heat engine, the so-called Mark II commercial heat engines being commissioned. We've achieved commercial revenue, and we're getting a bioenergy power station ready in North Geelong. And the money this year will be to execute on that bioenergy power station and scale up the heat engine.
So for people who are wrapping their heads around this concept, tell us some examples of use cases. Where would the Barton engine from Capricorn end up operating?
Yes, so because it's high efficiency at container scale, the analogy would be that we're to small business and local council to what PV on your rooftop is. So we generate about 100 times the electricity in the same land footprint. And that means we can service, councils and industrial users for their decarbonisation needs, their electricity needs. So a classic use case is the one we're building in North Geelong at a factory. We take green waste from the local Geelong Council. We use a pyrolysis process to turn that into biochar. And the heat that's created from that process, we turn into electricity for the local factory.
All right, I'm just going to take a step back for people who are unfamiliar with things like biochar and pyrolysis. What are we talking about here? What would we see if we were watching?
Yeah, well, it's a carbon negative project, so we sequester carbon. And that's what biochar is. It's a carbon that's used for enhancing soils, soil conditioning. It retains moisture for soils and improves nutrient retention, so it helps crops. You can use it for that, or even for animal feed. And really all it's doing is taking organic matter like green waste and retaining turning that into a pure carbon.
So as you describe the plants and the uses there, I'm sort of thinking, okay, if I was a large industrial business, I'm maybe already using a whole lot of heat in my industrial processes, is it a case of recycling that heat back through the Barton engine from Capricorn and kind of almost creating a perpetual motion machine in terms of being able to power my plant at the same time?
Well, that's right. So the world spends trillions of dollars creating heat for industrial processes, and then a surprisingly large amount, over 70% of that heat is wasted. So by having a Barton heat engine at the end of that industrial process, we're able to capture some of that wasted heat and turn it into electricity.
And just again, so we can wrap our heads around what this does, how much would a single plant cost? And to put it in swimming pool terms, how many homes could you power off a single Capricorn Power Barton Engine?
Yes, so in a container we can power about 100 households for our next product, and we'll increase that to perhaps up to 1,000 households in a large container as we improve the product. And the cost of electricity, of course, is really low when your heat source is free, waste heat. So we've got a pathway down to less than 5 cents a kilowatt hour.
Oh, wow, that sounds pretty impressive. Mike, I'm just having a look on Birchal right now. I think you're hitting $90,000 already. You've only just kicked off. 69 investors are in there. You've got 3 weeks to go on the campaign. Little over 1.4 mil to go. We wish you all the best with the raise and look forward to following the next step with Capricorn. Thanks for your time.
Great, thanks for having me.